Hey there, I'm Charlotte Smith, and welcome to the Profitable Farm Facebook group, or maybe you're seeing this at 3cowmarketing.com. And welcome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch these videos. I love getting your emails. I get lots of emails where people are just grateful that I'm sending out free information. And some people can't believe I give so much away for free, but I have to say that I'm learning in life, the more you give, the more you get back. And I find great joy in getting those emails from people where they took something I taught in one of these emails and applied it on their farm, and they start to see results, as in they start to become profitable. And of course, it's never all about money, but what we do is so expensive that we have to be able to cover the costs and then some, or it's just not worth the effort. So my goal is to help you build that profitable farm. And today I'm going to talk about 4 elements of a profitable email. And okay, hang on just a sec. I'm going to make sure that I'm looking live on the Facebook page. Yes, it's there. And one more second while I post the link to today's download in there too, to help get you organized. So there's a link in there. If you click on that, you can read more about what I talk about today and download the worksheet that will help you make some progress in this. So last week, I talked about your ideal customer, and that's part 1 to a profitable email. So make sure you get that down and do that and click. That's over on 3cowmarketing.com. Find out, who your dream customer is, and then you can apply what we're going to talk about today, which is how to write a profitable email. So a lot of people are wondering, sometimes they'll be like, isn't email dead? Do people even use email for marketing anymore? And I have to tell you, it is, and for now, it is the absolute best way to build a marketing plan. Facebook is great, Instagram is great, fancy website's great. Those are all part of a great marketing plan. They can be, they're not even a mandatory part of a great marketing plan. But they are not the great marketing plan. So whenever someone says, well, I have thousands of Instagram followers, so I don't think I need email marketing. If you can, if you're building you have your profitable farm from those thousands of Instagram followers, great. But most people don't. And a reason why is on those social media platforms, such as Facebook and Instagram, your posts are only shown to a small percentage of your followers or the people that like your page. So, for instance, if I have 1,000 likes on my Facebook page for the farm and I put a post on there, maybe 6% of the people will see it. So 60 people will see it. Maybe someone will come out and buy from me at the farm store or the farmer's market. Maybe not. If I send an email to the same 1,000 people that I've identified my dream customer, filled up my email list with them, 100% of them almost will see it. 1 or 2 might go to spam, but most people will see it. On average, 40% will open it and read it. And on average, 10%, 100 people will buy from you. So when I send out an email, I make $6,000. And that's what I have to do that. I can't rely on putting a Facebook post up there and hoping that the 60 people who see it, maybe one will come out and buy, which is often what happens. So email marketing is extremely powerful. It's the only place you can email 100% of your people at once. You can't reach all of them on, say, Facebook or Instagram. So those are great. Make sure you have those set up if that's what you want to do, but they are not your marketing plan. So we're focused on email marketing and how to write a profitable email. All right, so I made some notes here. I want to make sure I'm copying them. So in the 4 components of a profitable email, you're wondering, well, what do I email them about? What is it I'm emailing? How do you make $6,000 on one email? It's because you've incorporated what we went over last week. You're writing to your dream customer. But it's really important to always have a purpose for your email before you email somebody. And let me just check in and make sure everyone can, there's like no weird messages on the Facebook live video that you can't hear me or anything. So it looks like it's going okay. So you've got to determine what is your purpose for that email. If you think, well, I just want to keep in touch, that's not compelling enough. There has to be a purpose. And that purpose is, what would they appreciate? So many emails I get from farmers, if I'm on their email list, are about their farming practices, such as, we have these great GMO-free chickens. They've been moved to fresh grass every day. They're better for you. We're butchering this weekend, so come on down and buy some at the market. So the emails I get are about the farming practices, but that 99% of the time is not what your customer wants to hear about. And what do they want to hear about? It's the things they're asking you already. So when you listen to them, you will find out what they want to hear about in those emails. Let me give you an example. So say you're selling farm fresh eggs, and that's your business model. Gosh, I'm so sorry. My phone is crooked. So if you send out an email to your customers, and I get these often, where it says, buy pastured eggs, our chickens that we've got several dozen a week at this farmer's market. They are, again, out on pasture, moved to fresh grass. They're eating bugs and worms, and that means the CLA content is very high. So they're really good for you, so eat our eggs. Well, contrast that with what our customers come into our farm store and say, and they will walk in and they'll say, I heard I should buy farm fresh eggs. Do you have any? And then the second question out of their mouth is, are they fresh? And the next question is, how long do they last? Or can I leave them out on the counter, or some variation of that? That is what almost 100% of the people who come to our farm for farm fresh eggs ask. So that's what I want. That's the information I want to have in my email, because that will engage them. And when they read that, they'll be like, wow, this woman read my mind. How did she know I was wondering those things? And that's subconscious that they think that, but they also feel a connection with you, and they feel like they trust you because you just answered a question that they didn't even ask. They feel this affinity with you. Whereas if you send out an email that talks about your farming practices, it's like, ho-hum, if they even open it, they won't necessarily understand it, and they don't feel any connection with you. It's just a description of what you're doing on your farm. So that's just an example of your customers are telling you already what they want you to email them. So figure out what your purpose is. And then let me keep going. So with that, I want to introduce you to something I call the rule of one. And I've heard this over the years from different marketing experts. The rule of one means that you have one person you're writing to. And I went over that in last week's worksheet, remember, on your dream customer. So you're writing to one person. You're writing to them about one topic. So you're not writing to them about your eggs for sale and your Thanksgiving turkeys and your grass-fed beef and your flowers and your farm-to-table dinner, but you're writing to them about one topic. You have one call to action in your email, which means you ask them to do one thing. You don't say, buy our beef here, order your turkey here, and sign up for our farm-to-table dinner here. That dilutes everything and they won't take any action at all. So the rule of one is you're writing to one person about one subject, and you tell them to do one thing in that email. And every email has to follow that to be productive. Okay, so that's a really important part of your productive email. And remember, I've got all this in a downloadable worksheet too, if you click on the link in there. Okay, so now I want to skip over to the worksheet and go over those 4 components of a profitable email. So again, determine what is your takeaway from that email. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to be inspired? Do you want them to learn something, like maybe a research study on how conjugated linoleic acid found in grass-fed beef heals cancer? You found this study, so you're going to educate them on that. Do you want them to be inspired by your email? Do you want them to buy your product? What is the purpose, the main goal of that email? So the first thing is the subject line. When you open your email inbox, if you're like me, it's full because you never have time to empty it. And it's full of these really great subject lines like 3 ways to get your children to do their homework, or how I got more energy and am able to get up and make it to the gym every morning, or save money by doing these 3 things. You've got all these great subject lines in there. And then if you happen to have your email that says news from the farm or farm newsletter or something like that, people are not as compelled to open it as something that's really engaging. Now that might be 3 ways, or how to get 3 meals out of 1 pastured chicken. How to subject lines are really good. The one we're about to see, how to brine, roast, and carve the perfect Thanksgiving turkey. 4 ways to get your kids to eat vegetables. So you just want to make sure your subject line is really captivating, engaging, to get them to open it. Because you can write the best email in the world, but if they don't open it, that doesn't do you any good. And the neat thing about the email marketing service that we talk about in this blog post is that you can track that. You can look at those statistics and see which of your email subject lines get opened more than other types of subject lines. I look at that all the time. I see that, the way I wrote a subject line got less opens, like 25% fewer opens than the one the week before. I know it was kind of a dud. So that's the cool thing about email marketing systems that are free for you to use, is you can track all that. And we have all of that in our free email training too. So be sure you've taken that if you haven't, and get that set up for you, because that is one of the best ways to tell if your email subject lines are working for you, is follow those open rates. All right, so then you want to connect with your reader emotionally. A lot of people send out their farm emails and they're pretty corporate feeling, and they do lack connection and emotion. And they try to stay out of the email, keep their personality out of it. But I'm here to tell you that your customers want to see your personality in that email. So make sure you emotionally connect with them somehow. That's step number 2. Number 3 is the gift or the big promise. So maybe number 3 is the recipe or the steps on how to get 3 meals out of 1 pastured chicken, or the gift or the promise. If it's an educational article, then the bulk of the email there is the big promise of this education, this research study. And then lastly is a call to action. Remember, you want 1 call to action. So stop by the farm store today to pick up your grass-fed beef, or come to our garden for our open house Saturday between 10 and 12 to, bring your family, pick the bouquets, or whatever. You want 1 call to action in there at the end of it. So that's your conclusion. So I'm just gonna, you'll see in the download too, my attention-grabbing subject line on a really good email I sent out that got lots of opens and lots of action on it. It was titled, How to Brine, Roast, and Carve the Perfect Thanksgiving Turkey. And then to connect with people emotionally, you've got to share a little bit of yourself, maybe a personal story, or it could be, what you're doing on the farm, but it has to be emotional. There needs to be, make it interesting. It has to be interesting. So I talked about Thanksgiving in this email last year. And I said, I remember, Thanksgiving is a wonderful dinner, but I remember those that won't be with us. For instance, my son was deployed last year for Thanksgiving. So I wrote a little note about that in my email to my customers. And that is always really engaging, to share a little bit of your life in there. People love that. A lot of our customers are parents of military or former military, or former military themselves, and they've been deployed in the holidays. And so then they want to write back when I send out that email and tell me a little bit of their story. This deepens the relationship. And when you have that deep relationship, that's where money is no object, price is no object, There is no competition. They want to buy from you, period, because of that connection. And it doesn't matter that our Thanksgiving turkeys are more expensive than the neighbors because they have that connection. So you have to have some sort of emotional connection in each of your emails. And this just takes practice, and it takes being vulnerable. You know, you have to, sometimes it's hard to click send on an email because you're afraid maybe you shared too much, and make sure you don't share too much, but connect with them emotionally. The other thing is you're connecting with them about things that you know they are interested in. The emotional connection doesn't have to be sad in my case of my son being deployed, but it could be like something as simple as, boy, I try to make it to yoga class and I just can't seem to do it. My schedule is so busy. You're talking about yourself, but since you know your ideal customer has that same problem because they've told you that and you listened and made notes of it, they're going to relate to you and connect with you, and that is emotional in there. So you want some sort of bit of emotional connection in every email you write. Think of it when you write your emails as if you're sitting down with a friend over coffee. You know, you're not going to be all corporate sounding like a lot of the farm emails I get. You're going to share personal things that are going on. And you know, again, be sure you don't overshare, but you have to, that's a really important component of your emails because people respond to that and the trust is there. And then, of course, my promise in my email here was how to brine, roast, and carve the perfect Thanksgiving turkey. I had a recipe that was written out, and I also had a video on how to carve the recipe or carve the turkey, because a lot of people, you only do that once a year, if that, so you forget. So I just did a reminder video. Here's how to carve a turkey, and people loved it. So, and that was easy video to make. I just made it in my kitchen. I got a turkey a couple months before Thanksgiving and made a quick little video. You don't need any fancy setup at all. And then the very last thing in every email you write is your call to action. Don't forget that. A lot of emails I get from farmers are really nice stories, but they aren't telling me to buy anything. You've got to tell people to buy. They appreciate that. So the very last thing would be, and you're telling them to buy one thing. In my case, it was click here to order your Thanksgiving turkey now. And it took them to a PayPal tab to pay the deposit. And we sell out of our Thanksgiving turkeys in 24 hours every year because of this. So when you build up like that, I'm just going to review it. You practice the power, the rule of one. You're writing to one dream customer about one topic with one call to action. You connect with them emotionally in every email. You have some little personal connection in there that applies to them and you. And I don't mean sad emotion. It can be happy. It's just something in your life that you connect with them on. You give them the promise, the recipe, the education, the inspirational picture, whatever it is, or video. And then very last, your very clear call to action, which is click here to buy T-bone steaks now. Click here to order your floral CSA now. You know, it has to be very clearly stated like that, or people will miss it and not do it. They appreciate that. If you think, wow, I sound really bossy in my email, I don't want to do that. No, don't think that way, because they actually really appreciate when you do that. So then you're going to sign off on your email after you've given them your clear call to action, and you're going to sit back and you're going to be available to respond to them when they hit reply and email you, because they will, and you're going to use that opportunity to connect with them more. If you follow this formula with every marketing email you write, which I coach through our course, is one a month minimum year round, even if you have a seasonal product, you will see your sales and profits grow and grow and grow. And you will be on that path to your profitable farm and be able to, you know, quit your side job, retire your husband, whatever your goal is in that. So thank you. You can continue asking questions down below. We are opening our course for registration in a couple weeks. That's why we've got this 3-part series last week, this week, and next week on the foundations of a profitable, successful marketing plan. So you feel free, again, ask questions. We'll come back and just let me do one last check on here. Make sure there's no questions. We've got comments on other videos coming up. Okay, that looks like it. Thanks, everyone, and I'll talk to you right here in the Facebook group, or if you're watching it on YouTube, or by email. Feel free to reach out anytime. Take care.